What's up, man?
Not much. How you doing?
Doing good.
All right.
This week feels like a whole new world.
Because?
Well, I mean, we're back to all-time highs. Bitcoin's ripping. We're in the black. We're in the black now. A little bit more more solid than we were last time we did a recap.
And the market's just done crazy things because,
it's still a little choppy and a little bit pump fakey. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday were scream out of the gate, then kind of settle back down. But Thursday and Friday were just rip.
But just looking at like where the Nasdaq is from where it started, beginning of the year, it was almost 10% up. I don't know, 2-3 weeks ago. And now it's the low man on the totem pole with the Dow being higher than the S&P and the Nasdaq, and so there's just some really weird things going on out there.
They brought, it was extremely inflated. I mean, you can only take it up so high, right? Like if you look at any of the technicals or if you look at any chart, like all of the candles were way above your normal moving averages.
Absolutely. But you had a ton of great news too, which usually already baked in. But, Biden signing the $1.9 trillion.
Monday. Now, and they're already
Thursday, right?
They're already hitting
this weekend.
Accounts.
Yeah.
So,
and
it's really good for Bitcoin.
1,400. It's 1,400 a person. So it's going to be a big check. And if, you're getting the 1,400 and you got dependents, you're getting 14 all around.
Yeah.
That's a big chunk of change.
Liquidity's going to be back for a little bit anyway. It's probably just going to set us up for another correction sooner than later.
Yeah.
But in the near term, I would imagine that things will probably get back to penny stock bonanza. Gotta love penny stock bonanza. There's really nothing more fun than penny stock bonanza. Your account can go from kind of not much to like a whole bunch.
A lot.
Really way quicker than you ever thought possible.
Agree.
When the brakes start to, smoke and the piston rods start flying out the hood, go to cash.
Yes.
That's all. Learned my lesson. Don't have it all on the street. So this week was like I said, it was good for us. We didn't have a monster week like you said. The Nasdaq's still low man on the totem pole, and
that's year to date.
It feels normal. It feels some stuff in our portfolio goes up, some stuff in our portfolio goes down. I can manage that. That's fine. I don't need them all to go up. I just can't have them all go straight down. That's difficult.
And you got a little action on GameStop too, so that was kind of
little action. I still have my one share because I want to stick it to the man.
Because I kept telling you, why are you holding on to that, man?
Here's the thing.
It did pop.
So there was our price. We bought our one share for $46.
Right.
One share, of course, today. And the reason I bought it was because it's a $5 stock. So I'm like, what is propping it up? Like after all this crazy action, and again, I'm not a licensed trained expert, but common sense is like something's still propping it up.
You were just FOMO all the way, weren't you?
Well, no, I mean, I'm
totally kidding you.
One share, $46. I'm like, well, what if it does rip to 1,000 like these crazy people say? Now, here's the thing. I wish I'd have bought all of it now because now it was trading at 268.
Yep.
That would have, 500% or whatever that is. But the DTCC just put in a really, really crucial law this week, which actually made me buy AMC again.
And this is really interesting because I didn't read anything about it, and it makes some sense.
It's called, I believe it's called SR 801. And it is, so the DTCC is they're the boss, right? They're not a clearinghouse. They're like the overseers of the clearinghouses. And members of the DTCC are your major hedge funds, investment banks, and they settle the cash. So if you have a cash account and you, don't check me if I'm wrong on this, but when you have to settle for, it's called a T+2, you have a 48-hour settling period. That's who you're settling with. They need their money. They're the institution that keeps the whole thing really going. So what they did is they said, okay, guys, this GameStop thing was a little scary. You guys clearly can't be trusted. You're borrowing and borrowing and borrowing and borrowing and shorting and shorting and shorting and shorting and shorting, and that's usually okay, but you kind of took a little bit too much rope. Now, typically,
but aren't the short? When do you have to clear the short?
So typically, you get 30 days to come up with the money to pay your debt. Essentially,
that's what I was thinking.
So when all like the Melvin and Citadel and all these people lost all that money,
right?
Typically, they would have 30 days to come up with whatever they lost and get square with the DTCC.
So it's almost like saying, hey, if you got too much out there, we're going to get some of that money back in order to make sure.
Because they had to go to the government for a loan, and there, it was kind of,
I'm just working my day job way too much.
Yeah. So they went to, they went to Yellen, and she gave them like $700 million, and then that went to the clearinghouse, and all. And so they're like, listen, you can't do that anymore.
Yeah.
So now it's called an SLD, a standard liquidity deposit, at the beginning of every trading day, starting, I believe, on March 19th.
Or it's a specific learning disability.
Specifically, that too. I have that. So at the beginning of every trading day, the DTCC and the clearinghouses are going to analyze risk they're going to analyze the risk on each of their members' books, basically. And they're going to say, okay, guys, this is a pretty risky position. You're pretty heavily leveraged here. We're going to need a down payment. So send us X now.
We don't want to be caught with your pants down.
Yep. You're gonna kind of pay us in installments instead of you just getting a free ride and backing up Brinks trucks and doing whatever you want.
Yep.
So now, here's the thing. It happens every day at, I think, 8:30 a.m. or 8 a.m., and then they get and tell the bell to get square. But if they feel that they are at risk at any point in time during the day, they can do the same thing. So it's essentially a margin call, the way that my brain.
I think that's a great way to say it.
And it's a lender saying, whoa. It's a black Amex, but like, let's not get, like, you can't go buy 6 jets with the damn thing. Like, you have a large line of credit, but you're not bankrupting us and the government because you guys refuse to lose. So here's the thing. If you don't have the money that we deem necessary to cover the risk, we're just going to close your positions.
And that's what you do with the margin account.
Here's what the thing is. For GameStop, AMC, BlackBerry, Express, a million other KOSS, all these extremely heavily leveraged, you got 200% of the float shorted.
Right.
They're either going to have to pony up the money and run the risk of defaulting on their other positions, or they're going to have to cover.
Exactly.
And when they cover, that whole to the moon thing might be real.
Well, it definitely is, because if you have to buy it at whatever price and it just keeps getting bid up, there you go.
The speculative price target for GameStop is $1,000.
Have you seen the calls on that thing?
They're just, and I don't understand. I'll never understand. I don't care enough to.
There's like a 30-day $100 a share call.
Yeah, for like for like $8.50 or something like that.
Down to I forget what it was, but I was looking at them and it was just crazy.
They're just yeah, and apparently that chat room, Wall Street Bets, is not kidding. They're not goofing around. They're doubling down. They're going right back to the all-time highs.
And with the extra money from Biden. It's
going to be
some wacky, fun ride.
Here's the thing. How many times does, everybody has that, like, FOMO for real. Everybody has it.
Oh, absolutely.
So everyone's like, oh, my God, GameStop went crazy. And like, oh, I'll never get that opportunity again. And like, now it's a perfect storm. Now you saw it happen once and it's kind of being positioned to almost certainly happen again. It could get really, really interesting. So,
$264.
Yeah, $264. So our low $46 one, diamond hands. I got diamond hands. I'm not selling. I was like,
no paper hands here, baby.
I'm willing to risk $46. I don't even care. Now it's
You just wanted to be part of the crowd.
Yeah, I did. Man. I just want to stick it to the man. It was $350. It was $350 earlier in the week or end of last week, and I just don't even look at it because I was just kind of convinced that, now there's real mechanisms within the marketplace that can actually make that thing moon. And I bought more AMC. I swore off AMC. I hated it. I'm like, But with this new rule, it kind of changes things a little bit.
I was just down in Florida. And when I was down there, I just made the comment because right next door to us was a movie theater. And I was just shocked. And I go, can you believe it's closed? And my buddy said, wow, I didn't know it was closed. And the coming attraction was something that was May of last year.
Oh, yeah.
So it's been down.
Yeah.
I don't think it was an AMC, but AMC's at 11.16.
Yeah. Oh, they had a really solid earnings report because they only lost like $1 billion and not $2 billion. Something like that. Yeah. They were like, oh, beat earnings. Like they crushed earnings. Like, oh my God, no, they didn't make any money. They lost like.
We just lost half of what we were supposed to.
They lost like $940 million instead of $1.2 billion. So that's crushing it. But no, it's a really, really interesting mechanism, and they're not doing it specifically to help retail traders, but by default, their own greed and their lack of self-awareness has put us in a good spot because they can't hammer us with unlimited funds like they have been able to for a very, very long time. So they better be certain if they're going to back up the Brinks truck and just keep borrowing. They better know where they're going to come up with the money when that margin call happens for that liquidity deposit. Otherwise, they're going to be in trouble. And if they have to cover,
Well, they're definitely going to have some algorithm.
Yeah. Eventually, these monster short squeezes will probably be a thing of the past because once these heavily shorted positions blow up, it should work itself out and regulate itself. But in the near term, there are going to be some positions that just absolutely moon.
Just get smoked.
Go crazy in moves that, really, it could be pretty interesting. Hopefully we find a whole bunch of them and,
just a matter of time, man. Just a matter of time.
So here's the other thing. So, I've been saying I can figure out when a stock will go up, but I have not been. I don't know how far it's going to go up, right? So I'm like, there has to be a way. Like, there has to be a way to know this stuff. Like, and I've read all the Candlestick books. I know what the candlesticks mean. I know what dojis are and tweezer bottoms and engulfings and rising.
And by the way, would you have one that you could recommend? Because you and I talked about the Japanese one that was really interesting.
Japanese Candlestick book by I can't remember his first name, but it's Nilsson. It's incredible.
It is, and it makes a lot of sense. It makes
a ton of sense.
How many? Couple hundred years ago or something? They put it together.
Yeah, it's all based on the Japanese dynasties when they used to trade rice and grain and everything, and each candle represents an analogy about battle and warfare. So when the green candles are engulfing the red candles,
I love that.
The white knights and the retreats and three candles forward and all that crazy stuff and tweezer bottoms and doji tops and hammers.
But if you're interested, go ahead and check it out.
Really interesting. And I read a lot of it, and
it was great, man.
I can spot reversals, and I know when things are supposed to. But when it's ripping, it's like, well, I don't know when that pullback is just consolidation or just general selling.
But we're also real choppy now too,
right?
Yeah.
So I found this. I found this YouTube video that I don't know why it just made so much sense, and I'm pretty sure on YouTube I can link other YouTube pages. I don't care. This is the smartest thing I've ever seen.
What is it?
It was just purely based on price action. So no moving averages, it's just reading candles and figuring out what story is the candle and the price telling you. And it's not just looking at the direction that the chart is going at the time,
right?
But it's looking at the direction that the candle or that the volume candles are actually going at the time.
Yep.
So your first candle during the day, or your first candle at the bell is always going to have the most volume because they're either ripping up or they're selling from profits from yesterday, right?
Yep.
But the candle after that really, really matters. So, and I'm gonna do a lot more this week. I'm gonna put this into practice every day, and then hopefully next week I can have an incredible recap and explain this from real time events. But essentially, if that when you find support, that first large green candle is now essentially your barometer. So if you have one giant, huge volume green bullish candle, and then and let's say it's a couple green ones in a row, and this is where on a chart you would get green candle, big spike back up, little candle, and now you see a red candle and you're thinking, okay, well, now I don't know what to do. Is that coming back down, or what does that mean?
Right.
Well, as long as that bearish volume candle isn't higher and doesn't essentially engulf or overtake the height of that very first green candle, then the bears are trapped. They're just trying to get out. That's essentially people covering positions, selling for profit because bulls bought at the very bottom wick before it ripped up. So you're probably at like a 30-cent profit, and day traders are taking money right there. Right. Which makes total sense. Short sellers think that may be the new high of day, so they're re-shorting at that point in time. Right. And then it retreats 2 candles, and then almost every time, as long as the volume patterns work out the way that makes sense, there's another giant bullish green candle that then continues the next leg up. Nice. And I went back to every chart that I went back to every trade that I made and went back through and was like, okay, this is where I sold and this is where I didn't know what to do. And I just was analyzing it based on this. And I'm like, I should never have sold.
And can you pick it up fast enough knowing this now?
Well, when there's real money in it and it, when it's not Saturday night, you don't have a glass of wine.
Hey, I don't have my glass of wine.
But it makes a lot of sense because as long, it just makes a lot of sense. And just how he explains where people short, why they short, the day trader mindset. He's like, if you can read the pattern, which I can do. I know how to read the chart. I know how to read candles, but intertwining that with what the volume is telling you really does tell you a story. So as he's going through this video, he's like, so there was a ton of shorts right here. Now watch this. The green candle comes in. Now guess what happens? They're trapped. So you get the pullback. Those are people selling. The next green volume that comes in, the people that got trapped on the bottom wick at the low of day, because just like bulls will buy a breakout. So at a high of day, at the new high of day, right, bull traders will hammer that to get through the new high of day, right? That's a breakout pattern. Mm-hmm. Well, short sellers do the inverse, and they will try to re-short the low of day. Right. Well, if they can't do it and they're shorting and shorting and shorting and shorting all the way down.
And the bulls are pushing them back up.
The bulls are pushing it back up. You've now trapped them. Right. So they have to now figure out what their plan is.
So they're really just getting short squeezed.
It's essentially mini short squeezes, right? They're not parabolics, but they're mini short squeezes. And then after you get that 2 or 3 candle retreat, which is what scares me every time because I don't know if I'm like, is there a falling knife coming? Or I have no idea. That's not good. Right. As long as those volume candles basically don't add up to more than what the green candles did, it's just natural consolidation, selling, buying, and everything else. And now you have you have the trap short sellers covering, and you have new buyers coming in that didn't get in early enough that now see an uptrend. So it's just the psychology behind a trading market that when you think about it logically and just from a human psychology standpoint makes a ton of sense. Late bulls are coming to the party late. Short sellers are trapped. It rips. Now, if the red candle is huge and dominating and engulfs the largest green candle, you gotta get out.
And who is this cat that said that?
I honestly don't know his name. I think it's called it's like Real Traders. I think his YouTube is Real Traders, Real Life Traders. I'll post the link. Okay. But it's really, really good, and it just made a ton of sense. And I went back to every single one where I'm like, oh, if you just sit back and if you have a reasonable idea of what the story being told is, right, then you can think clearly. And instead of selling in a lot of those positions, I should have probably been adding.
Absolutely. If you now know exactly what the chart's supposed to look like.
Exactly is, like I said, we'll have a recap next week to see if it works out. But the problem was that I was getting caught I was getting caught selling too fast and holding too long. And I'm not holding forever, but it has to be the inverse. I have to sell faster and I have to hold winners longer, and I have to sell losers faster. And it's just a weird thing where you sell one too quickly, and then your next trade, it doesn't go the way you want it to. So you're like, okay, well, last time I sold too quickly and it recovered. And then this one doesn't recover. So now you've got an extra 10% loss on the low because you don't know what the hell you're looking at. It's a completely different scenario than understanding how. Oh, and here's another myth. You don't necessarily need huge volume spikes to make it go up either. You just need that initial volume spike to trap the bears.
So can you put a link on the YouTube page? And I'll put it in the description. Okay, good. And I don't know if you have any examples, that you saw, but that seems like that would be pretty cool.
Yeah, it's friggin'. I don't ever want to be I'm not going to take screenshots and put them up. I'm just not going to. We'll have Reef do it.
Yeah.
I'll send it to Reef.
That works.
Cool. Yeah, he'll knock it out. But essentially, that's kind of where I'm at for the week, man. Like, we were green. It wasn't as green as I wanted it to be. We had a ton of our charts are all uptrending. Everything's in a good position. I feel way more confident today than I did yesterday about how to actually read the chart. And we're getting the stimmies back on Monday. So we got the new rule that prevents them from shorting all of our stuff. We have a ton of stocks that are heavily shorted. We might we have a ton of stocks that are just being held. It's like there's an 800-pound gorilla on them.
Because I think if whoever's listening to this, if you're thinking about, getting in and, doing a little business, when you think about all the extra money that's going to be on the street, and you think about the number of people that have, logged into and gotten accounts for Robinhood, then it's starting to set up some really crazy stuff. Now, rule number one, you've said it 100 times, know what the heck you're buying, right?
Don't chase and know what you hold.
Yeah.
Oh, that was another thing. I thought it was so funny. Oh, man, Twitter is a wild place. Oh, man. So,
what'd you find out this time? Let me hear it.
It's not find out. It's just true. So, FinTwit, as they call it, financial Twitter, is just comprised of nonsense, noise, and craziness. And there is just a huge business out there built with the sole purpose of scaring you out of your position. There are I read an article the other day that said that upwards of 15% of all Twitter accounts that make any sort of comments about finance stocks of any kind are just bots. They're just fake.
That's just nuts, man.
So when you see, so it's just the psychology of a trader, right? So at the bell, so we'll use this. There's this kind of cult stock. I've done a ton of research on it. Here's the thing: if they're lying, then they're just really, really bad people, and I guess we hand them a little bit of money. But it's a LTNC. There's a whole bunch of crazy pumping speculation. There's noise on Twitter. There's no doubt that it's being pumped, but just because it's being pumped doesn't automatically mean that it's not a legit company and it doesn't have any value. It just means that it's being pumped, and that's not bad in and of itself. So LTNC right now has this. There's the people pumping it, and then there are the accounts and the Twitter handles that are just bashing the hell. Everything's fake. It's a complete scam. It's not even a real company. It's blah, right? There is big business in getting you to sell your shares.
Yes.
Now, being able to decipher which ones have actual facts and which ones are just crap is really, really tough. So at the bell, and this just happened to me yesterday. So I do have LTNC. We're up, we're up 80% in it already. So we're kind of free rolling. And I watch it like a hawk because anything can happen. At the bell, it's bring on the dips, buy it all, right? Then it dips 15%. And I'm sitting here thinking, maybe it is a scam. Maybe it is a scam. Maybe everybody's right. Maybe this isn't real. Maybe this is all crap. And I'm sitting there with my finger on the trigger to sell, to liquidate. And then I'm like, no. You've put hours of research into this. Forget Twitter. Just look at what you've read, seen, heard, watched. If the CEO and the president are scamming us, if this isn't real, they are just the most elaborate criminals. and they may be, right? Like it's fine. I mean, it's not fine, but it's a possibility. I don't think it's going to be worth $50. You know, I mean, people are crazy. It's Twitter. But if the thing goes to 20 cents, you know, that's really, really good for us. And if the thesis proves out, it probably could do that based on the market that they're in. So and I did the same thing that I did when we were talking on our last podcast. I'm like, don't sell it. Just don't sell it. We're way up. Like, just don't sell it. By the end of the day, it was our biggest winner. It was up 15%.
Yeah.
And then you're like, I knew it. This is the greatest stock in the history of the world. And throughout the second this thing starts to dip, you will notice an incredible increase in chatter about people just saying how I knew it was a scam. I told you guys it was a scam. It's such a piece of crap. Like, it's all liars. They're all going to jail. Everybody's going to jail. It's going to get halted by the SEC. Sell. Now, it also happens to be one of the most heavily shorted OTCs out there.
Right.
So, I mean, if they have billions of dollars to back up the Brinks truck to just keep shorting, I'm sure they have the technology, algorithms, and wherewithal to put bots on Twitter to shake you out of your shares so that they can make the short work even better. Because when you sell, it goes down and the bears make money.
And I think part of that is rule number 4 or whatever is you got to really understand when people are putting crap out there, who you believe and who you don't.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of pumpers and dumpers, and there's a lot of other people that are trying to get it to move in the direction they want.
Anything without data, don't believe. It's hard, but this stock is a piece of crap. But now you see it 700 times a day. It'll mess with you. And
it doesn't mean that it's legal either. It just means that there's a lot of people are trying to move it.
The sick part is it's totally legal. You got that freedom of speech thing. It's 100% legal.
When you're putting stuff out to pump and dump.
Nobody goes to jail, ever.
Nobody goes to jail.
Nobody goes to jail. Nobody gets in trouble. So
that's true.
I'm also not allowed to speed, but I've never been pulled over for 5 over, even though it's against the law. So, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah, it's just, a lot of rules that, not supposed to do a lot of stuff.
When somebody pushes it so much that, they get caught, then somebody gets in a lot of trouble.
Doesn't happen very often. There's nothing inherently illegal about having a fake Twitter account.
That's true.
And if you only have 10 and somebody else has 10 and then somebody else has 10 or 1,000 or whatever, how do you prove that? So moral of the story is either get off Twitter.
Or make sure you know which feeds you're on.
Or just know what you have.
Yes.
If I hadn't put in hours of research into this little itty bitty company back when it was worth way less than it is now, and it's not worth very much now, I would have been scared out immediately. Yeah. And we would have cost ourselves a couple $1,000s. Yeah. And we would have cost ourselves a green day yesterday, because if I'd have sold when it dipped because they scared me out of it,
right,
then I wouldn't have had that 30% recovery from there and like it's like our 5th or 6th largest position or something like that.
So you got to have the other people that are sitting there saying these guys are full of crap and I don't care. I'm going to hold on to it and I'm going to dump more money in it and keep buying it up.
They just keep buying it up.
Which is doing exactly what you said earlier. Yep. Doing these little mini short squeezes, which drives it higher.
Just keeps buying it up. Now, if they don't go current, if they don't get their stuff in order, and if that doesn't happen in a reasonable time frame, then I'll make an educated decision on whether or not I want to continue my position or shorten it or whatever. But just arbitrarily letting your emotions get the best of you because people are just constantly pecking. It's like, it sucks. This stock sucks.
Any piece of advice you can ever give on that for people, stick yourself with pins and needles.
Now, if somebody comes back with screenshots and data and it's like, this isn't any good, well, then you got to, but here's the other thing. Every screenshot can be manipulated.
Yes, it can.
There was another one, we have like $200 worth of it. It doesn't even matter, but it's called FTech. It's a marijuana OTC company.
Great.
Just got legalized in Mexico. When AZFL goes to 20 cents and makes 60 grand, I'll remember that chuckle.
Amen. No, I'm just chuckling that hopefully mom's not listening to this.
Oh, it's fine. Here's the thing. I'm going to trade weeds. I hope the weed boom. I hope people forget weed's a thing and it rebooms because I want the .com bubble to come back. I want everything to moon. Like I want to turn our account into 1,000% and then go to Tahiti. That's all I want to do. And if GameStop does it,
play golf.
Yeah, and play golf. Yeah, play golf more in Tahiti. Man, I lost my train of thought. But anyway, it doesn't really matter. And AZFL.
Yeah.
So this it's called the 403. It doesn't matter what the stock is. So the other day on Twitter, somebody put out a screenshot that indicated that they had just diluted their shares by like 40 billion, which crushes it, right?
Right.
Well, they cropped out the part that said that was a filing from like 2017 and it wasn't real. So if you just go to otcmarkets.com, check out all the filings, you can disprove.
So it's just a flat out lie.
But at the bell, it drops 20%.
So the guy who had it shorted just made 20%.
Yep. And guess where it closed? Up 20%.
Yeah.
Because people finally were like, now here's the thing. Was that coordinated by the people who wanted a dip to buy more?
Or to get it to
go up? Or was
it
by bears to make... You have no idea.
Exactly.
It is a scary, manipulative, dirty game.
It is.
Which is why it's so important for you to know what the hell you're doing, which is the part that pisses me off about myself so much is like, I know what I'm doing to an extent, but there's so much more. Every time I open a book or turn on YouTube or search something out or I get frustrated, I'm like, wow, there's just so much. Like
there is
a supplemental liquidity deposit. Like I didn't even know how clearinghouses and the DTCC worked until I started looking into this rule. And it's like, wait a minute. So the DTCC really makes all the rules. The SEC kind of controls them, but they kind of wear the pants. And that's like the clearinghouse's boss. And if GameStop goes to the moon and these guys can't cover their debt, it could take down the whole thing.
Yeah, this is a crazy time. And you know a lot about this stuff because that's not exactly the stuff that I learned and read about.
They don't teach you that at Granville High.
Depository Trust and Clearing Corporation.
Yep. The boss.
The boss.
That's the boss.
Financial services that provides clearing and settlement services for the financial markets.
Yeah.
Settles the vast majority of securities transactions in the U.S.
Yep. So if you have a cash account, now I believe they are the oversight to the major clearinghouses. And when you have to wait 48 hours for your cash to settle after a trade, it's their subsidiary clearinghouse that is actually settling it. But it's kind of like the Fed oversees. It's like banking, right? Like there's centralized banking. Like my little local bank. Well, if there's a run on that bank, there better be a bigger bank that has enough money to make sure that it doesn't shut down.
Yeah, mm-hmm.
They're the big bank,
right?
And they're like,
that makes sense.
They're like, you guys were so irresponsible. You put the big bank in jeopardy. Yes. We don't like that's like calling out the mob boss, right? Like no, it was all fun and games until it shows up on my doorstep. Like,
that is great.
Go do all your shenanigans and play all your games and screw all the little people, and that's fine. But now you have an opportunity to maybe potentially screw me. That's not really how this works. So when I call you, you have 1 hour, and if you don't have the frickin' money, we're closing your positions, and all these little guys are going to get rich. But guess what? We have the money to pay them. We can pay them, and that's just the way it is.
Yep.
We can't pay you.
Yep.
Or you can't pay us. So you're going to give us the money up front so that we can pay them for your bad decisions. And when it moons, now they're saying we're passing the moon, we're going to Mars. Oh, man, it's pretty
funny. Well, $1,000 a share, that would definitely
$1,000 would be, but all the and I don't understand the gammas and the betas and the thetas and the.
At one time I used to, but I don't even know.
I know that the more calls they buy, the more pressure it puts on it. That's as much as I know.
Because we learned the long way, the fundamentals. Then you go into the technicals, and then it's the behavioral, and then it's the volume, movements. it changes a lot.
It does.
And I think when you say it's all about a catalyst and then watching the catalyst, I think there's a lot to it. So
yeah, man.
What else you got on there?
Nothing really. That's kind of the recap for the week. We were green. A lot of our stuff that sold off is starting to curl. And I'm really excited about the price action. I'll probably go watch that video 900 more times.
And we should see some good stuff in the next couple of weeks.
The stimmy's coming. They can't short us anymore. St. Patty's Day's coming up.
Is there any kind of like
Texas says COVID's over, so COVID's over.
Texas is always right. So.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a survivor. That's all I know.
Is there anything about St. Patrick's Day? Because sometimes you hear, September's the worst month to trade. January's one of the better months with the January effect.
Supposed to be.
Super Bowl, who wins the Super Bowl, decides. I love hearing about all that stuff, and I was going to research the St. Patrick's Day.
I don't know how I know that March is typically a pretty good month for small caps. They call it March Madness for a reason. Starting in April, it gets slow because people go on vacations, and when you can go outside, there's no reason to sit in front of your desk and trade all day.
So, but I was doing a little research on that, and you hear there's a lot of momentum for the beach stocks.
Mm-hmm.
And, you're really talking about the cruise lines, entertainment, travel, all those other items. But man, there was a 180-day cruise that went up for sale in 2022, I think. Mm-hmm. And it sold out in, I think it was an hour. If it wasn't an hour, it was a day. So the whole cruise line, bam.
Oh, man, people are so ready. People are so ready to be over this.
They said 2021, they've already sold more in the first half.
I mean, it's like a year.
On pace to beat 19.
Saturday is the 1 year anniversary.
I know.
Since it was real. Since it was like, wait, what do you mean? And they canceled the Players Championship's happening right now. The Friday of the Players Championship for golf. I mean, it's the biggest. It's not the most famous tournament, but it's the most money. They just canceled it. And we're all sitting here like, what do you mean they canceled it?
They canceled school, and my friends back in Chicago go, you guys are crazy. And then 2 days later, they canceled their school.
Yeah, canceled their school.
I'm getting my shot on Wednesday, to tell you that.
Yeah, no, you didn't tell me that.
I'm getting the two-parter, but the first part's coming on Wednesday.
Well,
And my friend Glenn, he just got the J&J.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, so he got the one-shot wonder.
The one-shot wonder.
But think about that, man. There's a lot of stuff really opening up. The stimulus is there. They're expanding the unemployment benefit.
Americans have flat out forgot. I mean, there's like a subsect of people who still want to be mad about it, and there's a subsect of people who still want wear their mask in their car when they're driving alone, which I don't get. But that's fine. I already had it, so I got the best vaccine there is.
Did I tell you all the restaurants I go to now? Everybody in there is over the age of 60.
Yeah, everybody. Yeah. Oh, the South. We could get into the South Park special. It was so good. Yeah.
Oh, was there a good one?
Yeah, it was just about how all the old people were running everything because they were the only ones that were allowed out because they were the ones that get shot. So they were out
I saw
watching sports and chasing girls, and it was awesome.
I just think that was hilarious because everywhere I went, the average age was 64.
Yeah, man. I just hope. I hope that. I don't know.
And people are you could feel the momentum of the good thoughts and stuff. Just life. Yeah.
Coming,
I read an article,
at my house.
The dumbest article, this lady who was 67 or 70 years old that had this wonderful day because she got her nails trimmed and painted. She got her hair done. She went to the supermarket, and it was just wow, that a year ago, Christy and I were walking a year ago. We were like, this sucks.
This sucks. So with momentum of things opening up, weather getting better in the cold states like here.
Yes. Because you got some golf in today, right?
Yeah, it was 32 degrees when we teed off. I don't care. I'll be out there in shorts. I'm done being in my house. If there's not snow on the ground and it's not raining, I'm playing golf or trading stocks or working. Work sucks.
Well, yeah, a lot of positive stuff. So I think we have a lot of stuff to talk about next week. And
next week should be good.
I think that's a good way to wrap it up. Yeah.
Confidence should return. Keep an eye on SPY. It can do whatever it wants. It's still acting a little bit neurotic. But watch your candles, read your charts. When this video goes up, the link for that video I was talking about will be in the description.
Yeah, educate yourself, man. Yeah. Read the candle book, watch the video he's talking about, because the more information and knowledge you have, you'll understand why things are happening, which will make you much better.
And I'll link the Candlestick book to Amazon as well. Follow us on Twitter, same handle, Day Trade Indie. Like, subscribe, share. even my mom's getting tired of listening to me talk, so we need new followers.
Sounds good.
All right, man.
See you guys.
Later.
Thanks.
Bye.